Hey, and we're live. Big thanks to Rory Jones for following us already. And with me today, I've got Chet. Chet, you want to say hi?
Hey, how's it going?
All right. So Chet's on, and from there, we've got a lot of great things going on today. Welcome to That Minis Paint Show. Today, we're going to be painting terrain. We've got all the terrain from the various different, well, not all the terrain, but hey, Naceris, good to see you too. We've got terrain from WizKids, specifically what was it? The Dragon. Oh, what's it called? The Rusty Dragon Bar, and the Townsfolk and Accessories kit. So we've got two different setups. Kind of excited to get those done. We'll be working on those today too. So it'll be a very intense painting session. I don't think it's going to be too difficult to get all this done. A lot of dry brushing and stuff will get this to a high standard. We'll also be transitioning from a lot of wood stuff to some metal stuff. And then we're also going to be doing some washing right off the bat to get these hot coals done. Because there's a cool thing with the blacksmith shop portion in the Townsfolk and Accessories kit that lights up. And we kind of want it to look a little bit red and coalish when we get it started. So, all right, well, let's get started, shall we? Oh, and Chet, what are you working on today?
I am right now. I'm doing some priming because I haven't done that yet, and it's too cold to get out the rattle cans, so I'm using some this right here, the Vallejo Service Primer paint on. One of my favorite things in the world. Obviously, not going to be as thin as when I put it on with the airbrush, but I can manage with that. And I'm doing this mermaid model that came from Privateer Press, and it is Fiona from the Black Lagoon, a part of the Privateer Press mini crate.
Oh, cool. That's always hot when you can get that done. All right, guys. So first thing I'm going to start with today is the Army Painter Red Tone. I'm just going to hit the wash on top of this piece right here. This is the piece that goes actually into, I'm going to remove these tools here from this kit right here, that goes actually physically into the, what do you call it, the blacksmith's, not forge, but I guess you'd say furnace, where he heats everything up. Anyway, it's a great piece, and it lights up, but to get it to light up the right color, you need to make it red. So to do that, we're going to hit it with some red tone, make it a nice wash, and then while that's drying, we're going to work on the other bits too. It's cool right down here. It's got a little push button. If you push this button, it actually physically lights up. If you push the button again, if I can get the button to push, and you can set different tones. You can get flickers, then you can turn it off. So we're going to just do that with a quick wash or two of red tone, and then go from there.
I always like doing terrain. Terrain is just so relaxing for me because it's there's no detail painting.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, like there's every once in a while you throw like the random skull in that you got to get to, but typically there's a lot of dry brushing, a lot of washes, a lot of talent in a can. So you get a good product with with very little effort, which makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Especially if you've been on a large project for a while. I've been kind of reticent to paint too much because I finished that giant commission.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just so many hours of painting.
I think it was 2 shows ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember you were doing the wolf pelts on those giants, and you did a great job on them too.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, those. I mean, like it was a significant amount of time spent. So I was like, I am kind of burnt out on like typical painting. So I've been doing other stuff like just running through like doing assembly bits. Like that's one of the things that like is a mindless thing you just kind of have to do, especially if you're working on any kind of army. Is there's assembly to be done.
Yeah, I think somebody put something out there on Twitter like, "What's the biggest batch painting you ever did?" And I was like, "Well, 120 Space Marines for a battle company, and I did 3 battle companies in a row.
Yeah.
And then I did another 100 and some odd Terminators for the first company as well. So it was a batch painting, and getting all that assembly line stuff done is huge when you can find that moment to just settle in and get her done, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And doing landscaping and any kind of terrain kind of feels that way, because you can just grab a bunch of pieces and just, you know, and you don't need a detail brush. You don't need your really nice brushes. You can just get your, you know, $5 hobby store pack and go at her.
Yeah,
So.
for this I'm using the Wargamer Regiment brush for some reason. I normally use the Wargamer Monster brush, which is a little bit rounder and more focused. But for this particular use, I'm just doing it this way. It just works for me.
Yeah. Honestly, whatever tool you've got to do it, it doesn't really. It's less demanding on the tools themselves than doing small models.
Yeah. Big thank you to Lost Polymath for getting me the information. It is a smelter. That is what this is. The smelting furnace for getting the metal either separated and purified or extra hot for forming before being placed upon an anvil and beaten into shape.
So this is all the WizKids terrain stuff.
Yeah.
Just the D&D sort of standard size.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sometimes it helps to get your paper towel ready beforehand. Let's get a little battle music going on so it's a little more exciting.
Right.
There we go.
Priming metal models. Sometimes, man. I've got this. I've got just one section, and like even the primer's just like sliding off.
That's right, Lost Polymath. You always have to be prepared. So I'm going to set this aside. Washes take a little longer to dry, as you all know. So we're going to just put that aside, let that dry, let the magic happen on its own. And the next part we're going to focus on is the bellows. So the bellows, obviously gets drawn up and down by this little post, drawn up and down by this little post, which would cause the bellows to collapse and come back up. Well, bellows back in the day would have to be made out of leather with wooden panels and metal rivets or whatever it is they used at the time. So we're going to do the same. We're going to make a metal cone here at the front, metal rivets along the metal rail here that's going to hold it, and then the wood panels will stay wood, but we need to make the leather look a little more leathery. To do that, we're going to lighten the leather a little bit with Monster Brown. The whole batch of this stuff that's in brown has been primed with the Army Painter Leather Brown, and now we're just adjusting off of that. The metal bits have been primed in plate mail metal, and I think you'll find that'll expedite some things for any of you working metals bits as well. I think you'll find that to be useful also. So, how's the weather down by you? It snowed out here, man.
Oh yeah, we got a lot of snow. We got how much did we get? Like 3 inches, maybe 4 inches, and it is like the thick, wet, heavy snow. It was a super pain. I had to get up this morning and shovel for 2 hours.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
My neighbor started snow blowing his driveway before I started working on the different things in the driveway and everything else today, and I even did the sidewalk and everything else. I got done with the driveway, the sidewalk, everything else. He had this tiny little electric plug-in snowblower, and it basically ran out of juice before it even got to into the driveway every time. I don't think he got halfway done with his stuff before I was done with everything. I felt bad for him.
Yeah, I was watching some folks out running snow blowers, and I was like, they did probably, I don't know, 20, 25 passes over, back and forth and back and forth. And I was like, okay, but like, I just literally have to slide my shovel in, like, and scoop once, and I get as much work done as like 2 passes with a snowblower, because if you don't plan it, you're just shooting snow back in the same place that you were just at. So I was like, like, my back hurts, but I don't think pushing that giant heavy machinery on is any better. So, and this is the kind that like to compact. Like, this is very very heavy snow. So my son actually was really excited. He said, "Oh, Daddy, I can't wait to go shovel snow." And I was like, "Okay," and he usually does come out and help. But when he realized that he could like roll giant snowballs, he just gave up. He was like, "Nope, okay, bye."
He couldn't?
Huh?
He could not?
No, he just started rolling up snowballs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he had like 3 bases for snowmen built in like an hour.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's like, "Yep, this is what I'm doing today." It's like, okay.
Well, what a great day.
Yeah. He seemed to be enjoying it.
So you can see slightly lighter browns along the leathery bits here. I'm going to let these dry, and then I'm going to hit it again with thinner coat. And then I may look at maybe some desert yellow on that as a highlight as well. So
Lost Polymath says, "Why buy an electric snowblower?
Gas all the way or shovel it out yourself." Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's nothing wrong with electric snowblowers per se. I think they're great, but if it's running on 110 volts, its oomph is going to be pretty limited. And it was tiny. I mean, I think it had a 18-inch maybe maximum width on it, and most of the gas ones are I think at least 24 inches or more. So I was very surprised. I was very surprised, to say the least. So the next thing I've picked up is a barrel. I'm going to hit the barrel with a brown wash eventually, but first I'm gonna do some lighter tones on it. I think the easier way to go with that is to just there's a number of techniques. One of the ones I like to use is kind of a combination of ash gray and various wood shades like oak brown. But because leather brown is the undercolor, I'm going to do an ash gray and monster brown combo. Just because, one, I have some monster brown available already on my palette, and 2, it's a slightly lighter brown that'll let the darker browns of the leather brown show up. So to kind of give you an idea, This is leather brown. This is monster brown, and you can see the slightly lighter tone to it. So leather brown, monster brown. These do a great deal of the heavy lifting in my browns for me. And then I'm going to use ash gray. Probably about a 25 ash gray, 75% monster brown mix. So a 1-to-3 mix. Let's see how that works out for us today. I'm going to mix that together with the monster brush. I'm probably not going to paint with it, but I'm going to mix it together with it. My goal is to lighten and at the same time keep that nice rich brown tone in there too. So looks like I'm going to need a little bit more monster brown. And that's fine because I've got a lot of wood to be worked on here today. So I don't mind doing it. So you kind of doing a lot more with Star Wars now. I know you posted that gorgeous picture of your computer inside that you did with all that the TIE fighters and the AT-AT walkers in there.
Yep.
That was pretty cool.
I actually since then I've been finishing some updates because I started off with just backlight and I was waiting on parts, so I have I just actually upgraded the I upgraded to an AIO on the CPU, and then I put in 3 more RGB fans. So when I my startup for it, this is going to be my Stormtrooper build because it's an all white case, but when I start it up, it just flashes red, and I've been tempted to just write a macro so that when that on startup it just plays an Imperial theme. I was like, that would be super fun.
Oh, that would be so cool, man. That would be amazing. Should definitely do that.
Because yeah, it's let's see if I can. Oh yeah, I've got my thing up here. I have profiles for to switch it to Imperial. Yeah, I can maybe I can give a preview. Let's see if it'll let me.
Okay, so next up, just to get this done fast, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the hobby dry brush. I'm going to hit the barrel with the ash gray, which kind of show you the coloration. That's the color, so you can still see hints of gray in the brown, and you can still see the brown in there. And what I do is I just get a little bit on there, come over to the paper towel, just do a big circular motion until most of it's gone. And then what I do is I come over to the barrel and we're going to do a test on this. So I'm just going to do the top and just keep it simple, circular fashion here. You kind of see it. Not quite what I want. So I'm going to do a little less dry brush removal here. A little more. There we go. And I'm okay with getting it all over everything because what's going to happen is I'm going to be hitting it again with a mid-tone brown, and that's going to tone it down a notch as well. So it's okay if I get a little bit on there.
So here's the finished interior of the case.
Oh yeah, man. Keep talking so people can see it.
Yeah. So
sorry.
No, it's good. So yeah, I'll zoom in. There's the TIE fighters and the advanced TIE, and these are actually the ATM6s from the scene with where it's like the Luke projection instead of when Luke at the end of is it the second Rey movie? yeah. But yeah, that's those three walkers. Um, so my kind of the new build. I've had this computer for a while, but I was like, I've been looking for doing some updates, so I added a couple of pieces. Like I've got a new 2 terabyte SSD for it because game space is very limited right now. So yeah, that's what I've been working on that, and then I found this all white AIO, and I was like, that's perfect because it'll backlight that very nicely with the red.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it's time for the stormtroopers to take a break, I can switch to that right here.
Oh, nice.
When it's party time for the stormtroopers. So, yeah, that's what I've been working on just of late. So, a little bit of painting involved. I had to. There's. I need to put some more wash on a couple of those pieces here, but
Well, it looks great.
it was fun when I found my wife, God bless her, she was the one who found the ATM6s at Hobby Lobby,
Mm-hmm.
of all places. She was just looking for Christmas gifts, and she got me that to put in my stocking because it's a really tiny thing. And apparently, there's a whole set of really tiny Star Wars ships and things. So the ATM6s, I also have the TIE Fighter and the X-wing. I have an X-wing up there, and I got a hold of the ATST and the ATST comes with the snow ship. I can't remember what those are called, but the ones to take down the AT-ATs from Hoth, and the Hoth Speeder. I think that's what they were
Yeah,
actually called.
all speeders.
And I think I also picked up a Y-wing. That was the other one I picked up. So,
Y-wings are the bomb,
yeah.
or at least they are in the tabletop game. You know.
They're pretty epic in Squadrons too. Have you
Are
played
they?
Squadrons?
No.
The actual game is exceptionally limited. There's not a lot of there, but it's fun to play if you're into like the space or flight sim type games,
Mm-hmm.
and you have some friends because the multiplayer like PvE stuff is really fun. That's my mom calling. Sorry, Mom, I'm busy. But so yeah, my brother got me into it, and I was like, oh, that's fun. And the Y-wings are the bomb in that, as well as the B-wings. The Y-wings and the B-wings are fantastic.
Yeah. All right, table's done.
Ugh.
And really, just getting a lovely shade of this ashy coloration on everything is really, that's what this is all about. The wash takes care of 90% of it. Of getting the grooves back down and toning it back down a notch if I need it to.
Going for that kind of sun-dried cedar look.
No, it's more like some stuff they turn to grays as they age, and it's gorgeous.
Lost Polly said, "Hi, Mom." Oh man, priming metal or painting any kind of metal models, I just get super frustrated when there are flat spots because there's just this one flat spot that it's like entirely hydrophobic. It wants absolutely nothing to do with this primer.
I'll let that keep drying. So it comes with these 4 bar stools that are really cool that I like. They're very characterful, but they're also a little bit warped. So I have a feeling I'll be doing some de-warping later on down the line. And it's, one of those things that seems like, why would I spend so much time on the bottoms of these? No one's going to see them. That is until, somebody flips the table and there's a bar fight, in which case then they will see the bottom of them. So I just...
Yeah, I was going to say, that's when you need an extra set of ones, and then you just snip them apart so you can have appropriately sized debris to the fight when somebody smashes a chair over somebody's head.
Yeah, I've got so to kind of put it in perspective, I've got a whole bunch more terrain to paint. We're not shy about. I'm actually, believe it or not, I'm actually a terrain guy over anything else. So,
that was one of our very first conversations. Just outside of streams, was just talking about terrain building, because I was in the process of doing a bunch of terrain pieces.
Yeah.
Man, do I want some more pieces from Tabletop World, because that was so much fun to paint. I've also really wanted to get into the WizKids dungeon tiles. I've wanted to get some of those to paint too, because I've used a lot of different styles of dungeon tiles, like the make your owns that there's plenty of places you can go for videos and great people to follow if you want to see how to make your own. But also an obscene amount of money spent on Dwarven Forge every once in a while. But the dungeon tiles that they have are pretty interesting for WizKids. So now I'm watching paint dry. This is the really fun. I've done my basing coat 1, or my priming coat 1 and my priming coat 2, and now I'm just waiting. Because this is why you also, if you're priming a model that you want to paint really badly, pick out 4 other models.
Yeah.
Have them nearby and just use up all the excess primer until it's all gone, and then hopefully by the time you're done with all of them, the first one will be dry enough to really paint. Or you finish one, go back to the first one, cover all the spots you missed, and then continue down the path.
Yeah.
I bet you I've got some Star Wars that I can paint. Maybe I can. Actually, you know what I need to do? I need to find Darth Vader and get him primed.
I would just, I know it's tough to paint with the temperatures out, but sometimes having a space heater or 2 in the garage to warm it up.
I do.
It's huge, but you got to be careful, because you can't be, you got to make sure you've got plenty of distance between you and that space heater. Yes. And enough breathability in that garage, because you can't be doing that stuff and not being able to breathe and all that other stuff too. So get in, knock out what you need to get done, get it done after you've warmed the garage up, but not while you've got a heater going on and stuff.
That's been kind of a debate of mine, is just sure that yes, I definitely want to paint, and I have plenty of pieces that need primed, and I could go through them with the airbrush super quick. But like I said, I've also been kind of slowly building up my beginner set from Star Wars Legion, and so they can't see your painting on the
Yeah, I just saw that, so I'm moving forward here.
But when I'm in between build sessions, which I'm probably most of my build sessions I'm doing on my actual channel, because I've been kind of going through and just documenting the process of um,
The joy
uh,
of building.
yeah, well, but also like just the process of all these pieces, because I've got a bunch. I have a stack of Legion stuff that I need to get through,
Mm-hmm.
but I've been doing a lot of the assembly, and I want to do the painting on the stream as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, like in between uh, building, I kind of just want something to do and paint. Honestly, the paint on primer is fantastic, and I love this primer, so I'm not gonna complain too much.
Today's show brought to you by Paint on Primer.
Legit.
The letter P.
Sometimes,
And things that end in Y.
mm-hmm. But sometimes you just don't have an easier other option, and I kind of like this process because it's also just put the primer on the model.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Now I'm going to do this trough. For things like troughs, I debate if I'm going to fill them with water or not. But then again, I also remember these troughs can also double as, fruit stands or other things. So having it multifunctional, kind of helpful. So I just don't fill it with water.
And then here's the best part: is Darth Vader is basically done. There you go.
Yeah.
Black primer, and you're done. End of paint.
Exactly. And if any of you out there are working on miniatures yourself, feel free to link your Instagram photos of your miniatures. We'd love to see them. There we go. There we go.
And go to the Discord and share them so that maybe your some of your stuff can be on here. If
you put attribution on there, you tell us who, put your Twitter handle on there, and we'll make sure everyone can see it during the breaks.
Yep. And if you ever just need a confidence boost, it's really nice because
everybody in there is very supportive. Yeah.
Yeah, you get a lot of oohs and ahs. It's nice. yeah, Vader's already looking really good.
Mm-hmm.
I got to put a hand behind him because otherwise you can't see him. But there he is.
Oh man. Sometimes
Hey,
I start with grays and then I layer it back.
I usually do too. This is just primer.
Yeah.
I could have done like a gray primer, but honestly, what I'm probably going to end up doing is just highlighting it with a couple of basic grays, and then focusing on the details of like the little lights and adding a little bit of a red coloration where his lightsaber would be reflecting. So
Mm-hmm.
the lighting is going to be the hardest part, I think, for his design, because he would have, I mean, like most, if you look at where sometimes I do like to just take like I have a tiny flashlight somewhere that I use a lot, but if you think about the lightsaber and where the light would go from there,
Mm-hmm.
that's a lot of his front. It's going to be light, mildly illuminated.
There's a company called the Green Stuff Company.
Yeah, green stuff. Mm-hmm.
The Green Stuff Company. They do more than just green stuff. So they've got some really cool.
The electric paint, right?
They've got the conductive paint, and then they've also got LEDs that can connect to that conductive paint.
Mm-hmm.
You can run along long cylindrical shafts that they have available as well, that you can buy just to make your lightsabers pop that much more.
Yeah, I've seen them, and I aspire to do something that advanced, but also that takes work.
It's surprisingly very little work. What it is it requires some forethought. You've got to think about that in advance. You can't just go in and then do it.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to think about the steps you need to take before you start putting paint on the model.
But yeah, I've seen a lot of really cool things done with their conductive paint and all sorts of things. I mean, I seeing like 40K vehicles lit up the way that you would imagine a real tank, being
turn signals on a Land Raider.
Yeah. You just go, wow, that's a lot of process.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're doing your assembly, obviously you have to think about that, think about it that much more, because you're going to have to make room for some wiring, as well as a path for the conductive paint.
It's not just that. When you're doing stuff like that, you also have to think about what do you assemble versus when do you paint, and where do you paint, and how do you avoid painting over the lights, and so on. So like I said, it's just a little bit of forethought. I don't know that it's too much more work, because LED lights are low voltage devices. They're not exactly a complex thing.
Yeah. I was
so.
gonna say, I don't know anybody who would say, oh no, I'm not an electrician, I can't mess with LEDs. I feel like just about anybody can mess with LEDs. They're a very low bar of entry as far as electrical knowledge. As long as you connect the right sides together, you're pretty good. I was trying to say, hi Veritas, nice to see you. Thank you for stopping by.
Hey, Veritas23, aka Josh, the man, who just started in a D&D campaign on our Discord as well. I might add, he's doing pretty cool stuff.
Nice.
He was actually our very first, Josh, can I tell him this? You were our very first Patreon patron. So he actually was on our Patreon and was the very first guy to show his support for us.
Right on.
Yeah. And can't thank him enough. And then a while back, he was actually helping me with some playtesting. What I was doing for Wizards of the Coast on one of their charity modules they released, the Infernal Machine Rebuild, which if you take a look at it, you can actually see my name in the credits.
Nice.
Nerd alert.
excuse me, colored me jealous, man.
I don't know that you should be jealous. It was a lot of fun, but it was a lot of work. I wanted to make sure I
Yeah.
gave good feedback and information, and I did.
Yeah, no, I've done some playtesting with other companies, and I agree. It's if you want to do it well, and if you want to be asked to ever do it again, it requires some effort put in.
Yeah.
You don't just get free games.
No, and Bart Carroll over there was really good about, you know, being responsive and receiving feedback and giving feedback back, and I would work with him again anytime. All right. So next I got this piece, which is a plank with some leather on it that's being tanned. So I've got to be careful to get the plank, but not the leather itself. So I'm just brushing downward from the leather. If I get a little on the leather, it's okay because it's dry brushed on. So it's not exactly difficult for me to get it off. And we know that the recesses nearest the leather are going to be darker anyway once we hit it with the brown wash. So no worries there.
So slight change in topic.
Mm-hmm.
What games are you playing right now? Like, any kind of game, not just tabletop, but any kind of game.
I am focused mostly on tabletop role-playing games right now, and I'm focused mostly on Dungeons and Dragons, to be honest. Having a ball with it. I'm running Storm King's Thunder offline right now with a group of people who've been amazing on our Discord, and then I'm also ramping up for a short shot this Sunday, or not this Sunday, this next 3 weeks, give or take, for February. And then a little bit of this, a little bit of that for prep work on some other stuff coming up for ongoing projects. But really, that's all I've had time for is that and working day job stuff to try to get things set up and wrapped up. Day job stuff is finally starting to look up, so that's been a big plus, and that helps set up everything else that's needed to be done for a long time now.
We had a couple of questions. Veritas asked, do you have examples of models using the conductive paint?
I can pull up some maybe. Give me a
Yeah.
second.
I was gonna say, I know if you go to Green Stuff World's website, I think it is, they have stuffs.
Yeah. Hold on 1 second here. Here we go. Paints. Let me see here.
All my paint down here.
Oh, there it was. 1 second here, guys. Conductive paint. Alrighty. Here is I'll put this in chat for everybody. But if you look here, there you go. There is an example in there of a Star Wars mini, for that matter, using the conductive paint. So a really cool effect right off the bat that you guys can all look at.
So now I'm finally getting to paint. Let's see where we're going first. It says it's not showing up. Let me just check. Follow that link.
What's not showing up?
Oh, it just show. Okay, so if you go there and click on the, because that should take you to the conductive paint like store page, and the third picture in there is Luke. Here.
Yeah, you actually have to look around a little bit.
Yeah.
Let me see what else I can find here.
There's my Luke versus their Luke so far.
Yeah.
That's where my Luke is so far. But yeah. Yep, you got it. It looks good.
And then they have acrylic inks. They've got all sorts of very cool options. It's a fantastic company.
Mm-hmm. I've been tempted to buy some things from them, and I just have not pulled the trigger yet. Some of the rollers and stuff for texturing and things like that.
They even make little metal balls for mixing your paints and little tiny metal into paint. You know, these paint dropper bottles. They make little ball bearings that you can put in there.
Yep.
Which have been great as well. Check those out if you can also. And then their fluorescent paints are pretty cool too. If you're into doing stuff with a little more effect. And for certain things, that's just absolutely the perfect choice, is to have a fluorescent paint for it. So. These are market stalls that I'm painting right now. And they're really cool because you can do a lot of interesting stuff with them. I'm keeping it pretty simple. I think that's, usually the better way for me to go is simple. Simple keeps it where I can be flexible and adaptive. I don't try to make my market stalls get pigeonholed or put symbols on them so that they can only be one thing. Because the market stall in a game today that's selling leather goods may be the one that's selling magic items tomorrow. And by not having any symbols on there, it doesn't create the visual effect issue that you may have otherwise. And then I also have two of them, so I can actually make them at least a little bit different in terms of the canvas cover on the top. So I could do these in different colors, perhaps. Or actually, these may be woven grass, come to think of it. So I'll probably do it in a light desert yellow and maybe a hint of green in there or something. I don't know. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say I like the keeping it fairly neutral.
Mm-hmm.
I've also kind of gotten in the habit of making like little additional pieces that can just be draped over stalls or whatever, using either I started using like scrap bits of leather because I've done some leather work for a long time, and I just started using those. But I also found like if you find the cheapest paper towel you can at like your grocery store, it usually has absolutely no quilt anything to it. It's just a very absorbent. If you soak that in a little bit of water and
PVA glue,
Elmer's PVA glue, white glue, they are amazing for making little bitty pieces that you can paint up to add to stalls, so that you're not pigeonholed into one thing, but you can also add like a ribbon or something that has the name of the stall on it or something. And when I saw somebody doing that with making like tent canvas, and I was like, oh dude, having ready-made canvas for whatever you want, that's smart. So I just soaked a whole sheet in it and cut it up into strips, and I've been using it. I've literally been using it ever since. Just one piece of cloth went a long way.
For that type of stuff, I typically use a oops, I forgot to do that. Hold on a second here. I typically use a wood glue mix, and the reason I use wood glue over PVA glue is wood glue, one, accepts paint better, and two, it's it just is tougher, so it stands up to wear and tear better. So not only does it hold color better and paint better, but it also holds up a lot stronger. And that's from years of making wargame tables in particular. But, PVA will work, and more likely people are, able to get a hold of PVA, and if they're not doing wood shop work, they may not necessarily have the access to the wood glue on a regular basis or just sit on it. But it's definitely a useful trick if you can do it.
Here, I'll give a little progress update on now that I can finally start painting her. Got the skin tone in. Working through. I really like the colors they chose. My daughter actually came in and was asking about the minis that I was when I was assembling them, and I showed her the picture that they sent with it, and she was like, "She's pretty. You better keep her the exact same colors." Okay.
Isn't that great?
Uh-huh.
So you better do it, Daddy. You heard her. I miss my daughters. I look forward to seeing them this year.
My daughter is definitely the one with more artistic flair. My son likes to do a lot of painting, but he just gets bored halfway through.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, so when we were at Gen Con a few years ago, I was working at the Paint and Take booth, and so I took them over there when I had some time with them, and um, my son got a stormtrooper, and I had, I think, just like an imperial officer or something like that, because it was just whatever they had on hand, and he got done with his stormtrooper, and I was like, oh, that was fast. And I helped my daughter with hers, and I said, well, then here, you can paint, just paint mine as well. And he gets done with it also super fast, and I was like, okay, well, what do you want to do now? He goes, I'm gonna just go find mom. And I was like, well, why don't you wait till she comes back? And we sat there for a little bit, and he was just super bored. And then I finally get a chance to actually look at his models, and the stormtrooper, he added some white to the top half and tried to do some color, and then the bottom half, he literally just threw wash on it, and he was like, I'm finished.
Oh, really?
there was no paint on the entire bottom half. And then I looked at the other guy, and it was literally, he didn't even go that far. He just covered him in green wash.
Oh, really?
Head to toe green wash. I was like, okay, fair enough. But yeah, my daughter got really into the stormtroopers, and legitimately, now that I'm like painting some stormtroopers for myself, I'm going to steal this at some point. But she decided to go with a very pastel blue, and and then she actually was like, and she actually was like, what about, she was like, aren't these parts like black? Pointing at all the flexible bits in the armor.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yes, they are actually, because she's seen the movies. So she was like, I was like, so we did a little bit of black wash and some other things to finish them up, and she was super excited about it. And then she was almost done, and she was like, wait, no, we need one more thing. I said, okay. And she painted both the base and she painted the base red, and she got a little dot of the red on the boots. And I was like, and she was about to cry. She was so upset. And I was like, well, we can cover it up, or you can keep painting, and then he has red boots. And she goes, and so she has pastel blue stormtrooper with red boots as her. And I was just, it looked so fun. And with the wash, it actually did look pretty good, like very, good enough that you put it on it. That I would be like, yeah, that's something you could put on a table. That's easy.
Isn't that awesome?
For a starter. Yeah. And I was like, now I want a pastel stormtrooper army.
Oh man, that's right up there with the Hello Kitty Space Marine Army.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking it might work. It might actually work better if it were a pastel clone army. I thought like maybe that would it would just look, probably it would just be more likely, because the clones have such a diverse color schemes. So having a pastel painted army set wouldn't actually be all that weird for them.
Yeah.
But it was just cute, and I was like, I'm gonna steal this at some point. probably not my first army, but maybe if I grab a couple more boxes, I'll do it. A pastel expansion box or a oh please. Yeah, use that at some point. Let's see, I need to get some more light on this. Apologies if I'm completely washed out here.
What's up?
But I said apologies if I'm completely washed out.
No, you're doing fine, man. You're doing fine.
Trying to get some more light on the model here, and it's just too much.
I mean, people can only get so excited about me painting up shelves. Right, guys? Because shelves are amazing. They are the bomb diggity. Think. Oh, I've got this one little batch of tree right here.
Mad Math wants to know if that's from a terrain crate or from, like, is that part of a set?
Math 333. The stuff for the bar is from the it's called the Rusty Dragon Inn, and the other stuff for the blacksmith shop, the stalls, and everything else are from the Townsfolk and Accessories kit, all from WizKids. And they are awesome to paint up, and they look great on a table. go. A couple other items here and there. I've got some wood handles on some tools. Just going to hit them with a light dusting of the same coloration for the other wood. And that doesn't mean I won't probably hit them with an oak brown as well, just to get them done. But this also lets me see the highlights on them as well as I go, so doing these handles. Alright, now I've done the shelves that people can see. I've got just a little bit of paint left. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to hit the fronts with that same stuff, but what I am going to do is hit the insides of these shelves with what I have left. Then I'll mix up some more and I'll hit the rest of these bad boys pretty good. Because terrain should be given just as much loving detail as miniatures, but should also look good in the process, right? So as part of that, I do a fair bit of additional prep work. And there we go. Yep. The WizKid tables and chairs are, there's some tables and chairs here that we're doing. Are you doing the rectangular tables and chairs, Matt? Which ones are you doing? Because we've got the circular table and bar stools as well. So, yeah, got options. Okay, while I'm waiting on all this great looking paint to dry, I have this done. I'm going to take a quick look at how it lights up and see if it meets my requirements. Boom. And I think that's red, but I don't know that that's red enough. Do I hit it with another one? Or do I maybe do some charcoal over the top? Maybe a light dry brush of this so that the cracks show through and show the red while the top is showing as dark coals. So to do that, I'm going to use a little bit of Necromancer Cloak, and I'm going to go in with a dry brush for that as well. And a thin dry brush of this should be all I need to do. Because this is opaque, light won't show through it. So most of the time when you're looking at coals, it's around the darker recesses where you see the bright oranges and reds and stuff show. In this case, we just don't have that. So for this, it's going to be the lightest of dry brushes of this color over the top. So simply put like this. And you're going to see some of these high points get darker and darker as we go. And I am okay with that. And again, we'll do this thinly, so it goes on, handles the high points, dries, we apply another layer, it handles the high points, dries, and so on and so on. Just like coals.
Okay. I think I've got most of my basic colors on. There's a couple spots I might want to hit with purple again. The nice thing is this is a very limited color palette they went with.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, most of her is green or purple.
Yeah.
So you can kind of, it's really easy to just get the base coat done, and then you can put a lot of more time and effort on the highlights and little details, because I know I'm going to spend quite a lot of time putting on little tiny dots of yellowish green, like a really, really bright colored green, because this one is very very dark, very all covering. It needs something a little brighter. So I'm probably gonna have to grab another green. I'm trying to remember if I had another green just around here somewhere. I might.
There we go. You see it darker now, but still has the red tones of the coal. I think that's going to be the better call. We'll let that dry for a bit. Turn off the light, because I really don't want to take it apart and have to redo the battery anytime soon. To see the effects anyway. Alright, checking the dry brush. Looks good. Whew. Next up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the leather with desert yellow from the Army Painter. I think the desert yellow will add another depth to it, kind of a different color that definitely looks like a leather color when it's dried. You can also mix in a little bit of brown with it to tone it down a little bit if you wanted to. I'm just not going to do that in this case. If I need brown in it, I'll hit it with a second layer with a little bit of brown in it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this leather on this just to get it started. Then we'll take a look at the back of this piece here of the fur cloak, And then we'll look at eventually the bellows itself to see if it needs a little more, which I think it does. I'm going to be using the Army Painter Wargamer Regiment brush, my tried and true hero of brushes. I may have gone a little too thin here. I'm going to still work it and layer it up. See what we can get out of it. But I'm pretty certain I just went a little too thin. One of the few times you'll hear me say that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not getting any opacity, obviously, you don't want that.
Well, I'm getting a little bit of tone, but it's just not enough. Typically. Never tell you I was a Boy Scout?
I was a Boy Scout.
So I just found out one of the Scoutmaster moms, who basically was like a second mother to a lot of us, passed on the other day. And her son and I are still friends and have been friends for years and years and years. It was one of those troops that you'll never forget. Out of Arkansas, believe it or not. And Terry Lutkin was her name, and I cannot begin to express my sorrows to that family, because she will be missed. And countless canoe trips, countless camping trips in cold, miserable conditions, or hot, humid, just rotten to the core conditions.
Never when it was nice. Like, that's the thing about Boy Scouts, is like, if you're like, hey, come out, we're gonna do a camp out, it's gonna be great fun. It's never gonna be nice weather. It's just not. It's impossible. It's gonna be in the negative 40s, or it's going to be sweltering to the point that you're literally boiling, to the great delight of every mosquito for like 40 miles.
I had a great time, even in the worst of weather. I tell you what I did. We played, ultimate frisbee. We played just all sorts of fun games at night, and we went camping literally every month except for Christmas. In December, we sold Christmas trees.
Oh yeah, we didn't do the Christmas trees. When I was, I mean, probably right up until the end of middle school or so, I was in Scouts, and I probably would have kept going, but we had moved, and I didn't really like the new troop that well. So I moved from Illinois to Indiana, and I just didn't enjoy it as much. I just don't think the people who were doing it at the time were really enjoying it that much either. Like, it just didn't feel like they were having fun as Scoutmasters. So I just kind of was like, meh, I'm kind of over it. But honestly, my first, I don't even know, like 6 or 8 years, the 6 or 8 years that I was in Scouts, I really enjoyed doing the campouts and stuff. We just always had that joke of like, it's never going to be just like, mid 60s with a, with a light breeze and and sunny. It
Yeah.
was good. You got to add something to the mix. It's gonna be. We had like one day where we had one night where it was kind of that. It was supposed to be like that really nice 60 degrees and very little anything else. Like it was nice, pretty nice weather. But the wind picked up and actually put two tents into the lake that we were staying next to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, we were like, and that's what the staked down. They were actually like they were all put up correctly.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah.
and and we
It's
had
almost happened to us a few times too. Yeah.
we had that year we had that happen like twice because I know actually right after that happened I went to my grandma's and she lives in this little town and the winds had gone through there as well and I mean it looked like tornado damage. It was so bad. But like all the way like it wasn't a tornado. There was no physical tornado. It was just such high winds. And so I did cleanup after that for a couple of days, and no, it was hilarious, like that we had, but then it was also awful because we were all huddled into the two tents that survived.
Mm-hmm.
My over there.
And if anybody has any painting questions while you're out there watching, feel free to type question in all caps so we can spot it quicker. And we'll answer your question as quick as we can come up with it. is just going on terrible.
Not acting the way you want.
No, it's not. It's giving me trouble. Looks like I'm gonna be working hard on this part. And I can use a wash to tone it back down and get it where I need it to be, but it's just either too thin or too thick no matter what I'm doing here, it looks like. And guys, just to kind of give you a heads up for those of you watching, don't panic if your paint's not doing what you need to do. There's always a way to fix it. Or make corrections. It's normal. It happens. Man, oh man, is this trying to fight me.
And sometimes that happens. Like, it's not preferred. You know, you don't like it when your paint fights back.
Yeah.
But it happens to everybody.
Yeah, this one's going to be taking a few layers, I think. There we go. It's still terrible, but I'll get her back on track here shortly.
Don't forget to shake your metallics, kids.
Oh yeah. Gotta shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Shake your metallics. This song brought to you by Bad Singing by Reed. Oopsie.
There we go. Now I have something resembling gold.
Can't wait to work on this armor set that they have sitting on here too. Well, I'm waiting for the leathers to dry. I have to, so I did this whole piece in plate mail metal, but I've got to get the wood done. The wood obviously isn't made of metal, so to do that I'm going to start with, of course, leather brown, so it matches the other woods that we already have here, and then from there we'll add in some other color tones as needed. Ooh. Don't forget, kids, shake your paint.
Yep.
There we go.
I've seen a lot of makers recently get those like the test tube shakers to
Yep,
use.
I've used them.
Yeah. And I was like, but that's like literally shaking your paints is the only workout you get while doing this. Like that just seems seems like a
Well,
waste.
if that is their only workout, then I feel bad. But
Well, no, I didn't say only workout ever, but
yeah,
the only workout that is built into
painting.
painting miniatures. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is one of the reasons I do like using the paint on primer is there's a lot of process that goes into getting the airbrush out and getting all doing priming in general.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just want to paint a singular model, right? Having paint on primer on hand is super duper handy because you just prime one model, maybe two if you're waiting on it to dry, and then, like in this case, you can just get on with it and start doing the base coating.
There's even metal boots here. I didn't notice until just now, really.
I always love that part of the painting process because when you're just looking at the solid piece, be it metal or plastic or whatever, it's hard to make distinctions and see the different, really tiny details that are in the piece.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you start seeing all the little things that go into the piece itself, you start going, oh, that's supposed to be a satchel or whatever. It's just fun.
Well, it certainly is when they lavish the detail on the model. And this is one of those where they definitely didn't spare, they didn't overload it with detail. They loaded it with just the right amount of extra stuff so that it's interesting. Because there can be something called too much to take in.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the case. They did a really great job with this piece, I think. Definitely some challenging angles on some parts of it, but not impossible. Alright, the wood is done. So it now looks like the wood on everything else. And while that is drying, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to take a long look at this, which is the smelter, or the furnace per se. We have what looks like stacked bricks in the back with what looks like to be mortar around it, stone on the sides. And so what do we do here? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to do some gray for the stone on the sides, and we're going to do some reds for the mortar, some reds for the bricks, and then we're going to do a slightly different gray for the mortar itself. So for the mortar itself, we'll probably do a slightly, I want to say, lighter gray that we're going to wash down. For the stones, we're going to do a slightly darker gray, and for the bricks, we're going to do a couple shades of reddish orange. I actually align my stuff by color over here. I don't know how well you guys can see, but what we're looking for is something that's going to look a little brick style here. And well, that's wet mud. That's a wet mud effect. And that is a rust effect. And I'll be honest, I'm looking for something a little more combo brown. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a fur brown, which is a reddish brown color that has a lot more brown to it. It also winds up looking like an adobe stone if it's done right. So if I need to, I can always hit it with a tone to bring it up a notch and go from there.
So here we are, base coat pretty close to done.
Oh, here you go. Hang on a sec. Yeah. Go ahead.
So we've got most of the base coat all the way done, and then we just need to start working on highlights, which this I know is going to be very highlight heavy, because, well, one thing is with these scales, I want to get a nice contrast between the deep green and the brighter, probably lime-ish colored green that I'm going to go with. Oftentimes I start with the lighter color because obviously covering the lighter color is easier, but these are so small that I'm just going to have to do itty bitty dots of or maybe even like little bitty lining bits around the edge of each scale to define them, and that's going to be one of those super tiny brush kind of situations. So I'm gonna, but the other thing I'm really excited about is the hair. So you can see where the natural highlight is going to be on the hair just by looking at it with this bright front lighting. I think that looks really good. So I'm probably going to basically have her, the back of her look like she's backlit, and do a little bit less work on lighting stuff on the front, and focus on just kind of the back and top like this, because I think that'll look really good. And all the metallics are on there, so not bad for starting with I started this afternoon with an unassembled model in the mail, and I'm actually painting something the day I get it. That's a very rare thing in this house. Ugh. Usually it sits in a box for 6 to 8 months, and then eventually it comes out and slowly gets assembled, and so on and so forth. I'm really looking forward to painting these Star Wars pieces. It's going to be fun too. I still have a lot of assembly and a lot of priming to do before I get to that point, but I will thoroughly enjoy the painting process.
I am working the bricks on this furnace. Oopsie.
I actually think that I am at a natural breaking point right now. How close do you think?
Yeah, I think we're at a good point for a break. You guys want to take a quick break? Let's take a quick break. We're going to be back in about 5 minutes. Sound good?
Yeah, perfect.
All right, we'll be back in 5 minutes, guys. Be sure and check out, during the break, check out the cool miniatures that other people have sent us on our Discord. If you're on our Discord, go to the miniatures channel, post your miniatures, and post your Twitter handle on the same picture. We're not going to post it for you there. But if you put your Twitter handle or your Instagram handle on the picture, I promise you we will put it in the break, and people will get to see your cool miniatures too. See you guys in just a little bit. Hey, we're back, guys. Great times. Hopefully, you guys had a great breakout at the time. We're back. We're painting all sorts of cool stuff. I'm painting some of the scenery from the Whiz Kids. What was it? Rusty Dragon Bar, as well as the Townsfolk and accessories kit. And Chet, you're painting Star Wars miniatures, correct?
Right now, I'm painting Fiona from the Black Lagoon from the Privateer Press mini crate.
Ah, okay, okay.
So
Cool.
Taking a break from Star Wars.
Taking a break from Star Wars. Well, that's a good choice. For this tree stump here, I am going to be using Arid Earth for the open area on the top of it, just a little bit. I'm just going to hit a little bit on there, not a lot. My goal is to make sure that it looks a little bit lighter on the ends than it does on the top and the bottom. And I'm going to do the same with this tree stump as well. I don't want to get it too light because then it'll look like freshly cut wood. My goal is to have it look like a little bit of aged wood per se, and keep it interesting that way. But I do want it to have the effect of being a slightly lighter shade, but not too much. And remembering that brown tone is going to go onto that, we want to make sure that we do that right. So here we go. Using the Wargamer Regiment brush, mixing it up really, really, really good. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start on this piece right here. And keeping it inside the bark line and actually going in a circular fashion where it follows the grain is the goal.
So I'm moving on with my highlight. I don't know how easy this is to see, but there she is. I'm just now realizing how dead quiet it got.
Oh, well, here. Get some more combat music going here. It's always the second half that could be the quietest. So you can see the tree stump now has all this stuff in the grains. When you can see the side, it looks like a tree stump, right? So when we hit this with the brown wash, it'll tone it down a notch. It'll look really good. Pretty excited about that.
Sometimes you just get into what you're doing. You're like, oh yeah, this is once it starts to like really pop out. You just get sucked into it.
When you're in the zen, yeah. Oh, yeah. Lavishing the detail. There is some painting I just do off stream because it's not very entertaining to watch me as I sit there and drool over a model as I continue to paint it moment to moment. But, you know.
That's just part of the process. Like anybody who paints just knows, like that happens.
Yeah.
Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't entertaining, but that's usually why I play a lot of music when I stream. Divert people's attention away from my lack of social skills. There's also just times where you go, don't breathe. Because you're dealing with such a small area. You just don't want to breathe out too hard and mess yourself up.
Hey, Chet, I think you're a little on the quiet side, man.
Am I?
Yeah. Could be the voice meter.
It might be. Let's see. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, yeah.
I was also probably talking at my model and not you.
Hello, model. You are so good to me.
Oh, what did I do?
Let's see here. Push that down. All right, for my next step, I'm going to work on some of these metals. But for the anvil itself, which is a really cool piece because it's literally an anvil that I've already done up in plate mail metal. I'm actually going to hit it with rough iron. And the reason I'm hitting it with rough iron is, well, anvils aren't typically bright plate mail.
That was my
steel.
dog. She's very upset for some reason.
Your dog?
No, the dog's literally just broke into my office.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, broke down the door.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay. I'm going to go attempt to reshut that. And I'll be back.
Let me know how that works out. Hey, Between the Worlds, thanks so much for the cheers. And Neophet3, of course, our good friend. It's good to see you, Jay. What you working on today? Anything? Between the Worlds, what you working on? Anything at all? Good to see you.
Why, hello.
Yeah, we got 100 bits cheers from Between the Worlds, and then we got
Neofelt's in here.
yeah, I guess
Yeah.
Between the Worlds is doing actual work. What kind of work is actual work today? Between the Worlds. And let's see here. Get this dark iron on here.
Architect work, apparently.
Architect work. Really? I wonder who that could be. Let's see here. And Neopet 3, you have to learn Mask and Kids on Bikes RPG system. Okay. Cool. Kids on Bikes sounds fun. I've never actually played it. I've heard about it multiple times from other people, but I have personally never played Kids on Bikes. Alright, so we're getting the dark iron on here on this anvil. However, I gotta let it dry before I hit the next parts because my hands are on it. So, I'm gonna put that down. I've also got these amazing little silvery bit tools, pliers, and everything else I gotta work with. Gonna get them done as well. They really spared no detail on some of the things they brought with this particular kit. I've been nothing but impressed with it. Second thought, I should have primed these in black. And just gone with that.
That's my typical go-to. Just prime in black and worry about the details later.
Yeah. I'm with you. While I'm at it, I've got the stopcock on this particular piece right here. I'm also going to do a little bit of iron. I'm going to go a little more subtle, though, in this particular case.
Let's see. Neophet says played each once, putting together a series of one-shot campaign that brings Jumanji meets Sliders.
Jumanji meets Sliders. Well,
Man,
I don't know what could
Sliders
possibly go
taking me
wrong with that. That actually sounds entertaining. Did you ever watch Sliders?
Oh yeah. One of my first like memories of watching sci-fi other than Star Trek. You know?
Mm-hmm.
It was we had for a brief minute. It was one of those situations where we had Sci-Fi Channel for, I don't know, 6 or 8 months as kids.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something we were, going through. And Sliders was one of my favorites.
Yeah, I thought it was really well done.
Oh, it was. And I mean, how can you beat John Rhys Davies? I mean, come on.
Yeah. And now
Gimli before he was Gimli.
Yeah. And now while I'm at it, I'm gonna go ahead and do the iron railings on these barrels and just get them knocked out. Since I have the color out, I have it ready to go, and the brush is ready. Why not just knock it out? You can see what the one rail looks like now on it. And going to get the next one here. Between the Worlds, I am painting the Townsfolk and Accessories kit and the Rusty Dragon bar from WizKids. And Chet is painting. You want to take it away, Chet?
I am painting Fiona from the Black Lagoon, and I'm getting to the point of doing some touch-ups in here. I'm going to switch my light back over so you guys can get a better look at the colors.
Here, I'll get you a boom, bigger close-up there for you.
So there we go.
Very nice. Very nice. I look forward to seeing photos of that.
I'm pretty happy with how she's coming out. I'm even going so far. I'm using a little bit of a pink highlight to the hair to give it that little bit of extra lightness. And like really what I ended up doing was I started off with my dark green, my dark purple, like the darkest tone that I want, and then I tried to go real simple in like doing my I haven't really been dry brushing at all lately because I've been using more of like a wet edge technique instead. It does mean that if you have like a shaky hand, there's gonna have that little you're just gonna make some unwanted lines every once in a while. So I just keep my my off color handy and cover those up. But I really like this kind of contrast of this the dark green versus this. I ended up going with these two. Here, these are my contrast colors. This is a Gnarls green, and this is the Moot green. So these are the ones that I'm using to get that tone. And then I did something similar with the purples. This is my color palette for my purples. Going the dark, medium, and then highlight. So far I'm pretty happy with how she's turning out. And now I got to do this little rock formation, which I started in brown, so I'll probably highlight it with this same bone color that I'm using for these skulls at the bottom. I'll just do a little edge highlight with that.
Time to dry.
How many minis do you estimate are in your to be painted queue?
All of them. All of them.
Let me see if I can. It's probably going to be hard to see.
Hundreds.
I have the entire, both of the starter kits from Legion. I've got actually 2 board games from Warhammer Quest that I need to get done. Not to mention the ridiculous number of other like D&D style minis that I have. And 3 Kickstarter campaigns that I still have yet to paint at all. So,
Yeah.
and I signed up for this box that's giving me like a mini a month. That's gonna be fun.
I think I've been doing nothing but painting up backlog for the last couple years at this point. Unless something gets sent to me, I don't really pick up anything new right now. Um,
You're stronger than I am, sir.
well, you know, it never hurts to actually ping down some of the stuff. You gotta understand, I've got, 20 years worth of minis built up that I gotta start doing something with.
Yeah, and they're their own kind of stress. That backlog feels, you know, a
Yeah,
little
I mean,
stressful after a while.
the great part about having the show is that no matter what, I'm getting something bumped out every week.
Hmm. That's kind of why I started doing any kind of streaming with painting, was because it made me uh, get started doing stuff, and then but then the other side of that was that I started doing commission work alongside that. So that meant, hey, now I have a lot more things to paint because people are sending me stuff to do on commission.
Yeah.
So that kind of a give and take on that front.
Yeah, commission is great, but it's that thing where you got to keep going though. You can't stop once you start it.
Yep. Yeah. It's not a. I can't have the backlog that I have of my own personal stuff when I'm doing commissions. It's just not
Yeah.
allowed.
Hopefully everybody can see that.
Okay. So there we go. There's my mostly finished. Got eyes. At least one wash that I need to work on. Which I'm probably going to go ahead and do that. Between the Worlds said, I just collect them. People collect all sorts of things. If they get painted, it's just a bonus. That's actually like, I have a client who is that way, and like, he just likes having a bunch of different things on hand for games and just to like show off in his collection. Um, and he and that's basically been how I've gotten a lot of my work. Was he just was like, I want these ones painted for this session, and I was like, okay, and I've just been painting up his D&D sessions as they go. That's actually a lot of people are that way. Just they want to collect a lot of different types of models, but don't really know when or if they're going to get to paint them. So I totally understand that. I feel like I can't justify that, but I do have a ton of models, so I can't really like. I'm sure there's plenty of models that I have that are just going to go unpainted for God knows how long, and I'll just see once I'm, a few years here down the road and see where we're at.
I actually have a prioritized list of what I need to paint in what order. Roughly every time there's a month that has 5 Sundays in a row is when I'll do one of those weekends as a terrain day, unless I have a high priority terrain requirement, in which case then I'll do that terrain requirement right then. But for the most part, that's what I do.
I usually paint stream painting more than once a week, so that also is a benefit of I break down into like I usually have a terrain Tuesday evening thing, but that's also changed. I might be switching that up. I haven't.
Oh really?
I haven't really. Yeah. I haven't done a terrain Tuesday in a while because I haven't had any terrain needs, and I haven't. I literally went. I mean, in 3 months, I went through a huge bulk of the terrain that I had on back. In stock. I do have a couple of things that I could paint, but it's also not something that I feel like is worth doing over over a series. I have some terrain. I have some sci-fi terrain boards that need just base coated and then dry brushed. But I'm not going to make you watch me do 5 weeks of painting this, dry brushing the same,
Today
style.
we're going to spend 4 hours painting brown to get the first coat on a 4 foot by 8 foot table.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
And these are mostly tiles. So I'm like, I'm not going to do 200 tiles over the course of a 3-week period. That just seems kind of dumb. So I might do like a thing on, just do one terrain show on that. The other thing that I know that I have some of the, I'm trying to remember the name of the game. Warcry. I have some Warcry terrain pieces. The stuff
They did really good terrain pieces.
Yeah, they're gorgeous. I'm really excited to do them. I just haven't had any time to. So, as in, I haven't even opened the box yet. I've had it for a couple months now, and the box is still in the cellophane.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, an entire Kickstarter worth of Dwarven Forge. So much gray. I feel you on that. I only buy the unpainted Dwarven Forge because I don't justify that kind of money when I paint on a regular basis. But yeah, I have a lot of pieces in the like gray primer phase.
Oh
and
yeah.
But that's what goes on the table. It's just it's gray primer. It's all the same. It doesn't matter. Ooh, double band hammer. Thank you so much for letting me do that. That's
Who was it?
So nice of you. I don't know. Random name and random name.
Q Lucky 1014 WK Sandman 103. Okay. What'd they do? Buy followers thing?
Yeah. Want to be famous?
Okay.
The exact same message for both.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I guess the algorithm hit us today.
Apparently so. Oh wow, yeah. I'm gonna lighten this up just a tiny bit, but I put on that. I love sometimes you just once you put a wash on, you just go, oh man, this is an awesome piece. I just put that little bit of blue wash on the skin tone because I wanted to kind of get a little bit more variation. And now I'm just going to brighten it up in a couple of spots. But just having that little bit of separation with in the dark crevice areas is just chef's kiss, you know? Just looks so good. Like, you can even tell that she has a belly button now.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, it's one of those situations where you there's clearly some spots, but when it's all the same color, it doesn't look like that. But then you add a little bit of wash, and you're like, oh, hey, look, there's a little detail here that, you know, pooled a bunch of the wash, and it looks really good. I'll share.
Nicely done.
And I hold on, let me see. I've got mine. My setup is on manual focus because I found out I hate the focus on this camera, but I can. Let's see if I can zoom in on her.
Put your hand behind it.
Well, I'm doing a manual focus.
Oh, okay. Keep talking so it brings you back in.
I will as soon as I've got her on focus.
Okay.
Back it up. Ooh, there we go. That's a little better. Might be a little bit too much light, but I also don't have eyes done, so you'll see a lot more detail where the eyes are when you get that.
Oh, yeah. Damn it, I talked.
Oh my gosh. Come on, Reed. You should know better than that. No, just kidding. So yeah. And you can see a little bit more like how I just tried to fleck the green in there periodically. So like when you're this close up, you'll see it. But from far away, man, from just that little tabletop view, it blends really, really well, and I love it. There we go. Now I'm in focus again. But I think this is a really, really cool sculpt. And excuse me, here I'll give you this is the original look. Let's dip out that light a little bit. This is the original artwork versus my piece. So.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Now to just work on eyes, which again on the model, she has like full-blown makeup and arched brows and the whole. I'm like, no, that's hard work. You guys and your art trying to make us look bad.
So you're not going to do it?
I'm gonna do some of it. Definitely not all of it, because that's a lot. And I don't have a magnifying glass here right now. My kid's broke it.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh. There's a couple of rules in this office, which the biggest one is don't grab and don't touch anything without permission. Because quite often, it's just grab and don't look at where you're going. So that rule was broken. Something was just grabbed and snatched off the desk, and along went the cord for the magnifying glass light, and it toppled and shattered, and everybody was distressed for a little bit. But honestly, I don't need it that often, and only when I'm trying to do really specific details.
So I used to tell my kids they used to have an older brother, but he didn't listen.
He touched my stuff in the office.
Yeah. and he didn't make it. And I got in trouble for that one.
I am not surprised.
That I got in trouble, or that I told my kids that?
Either.
Eh,
Either or.
yeah, yeah. Uh, add a hint of color to the bottom of that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm going to go with a skeleton bone tan. Actually, yeah, a skeleton bone tan, and I'm going to place it on these woven cover tops on this, and then I'll layer it up with a little bit of matte, or not matte, brain matter beige, which is a nice off-white, and with the beige underneath it, that'll be a good color. That'll work really well.
So here I'm doing some of the lipstick. Some of the, and what I'm doing to get the lips right is wash.
Mm-hmm.
You can do a wash or a glaze. I mean, I'm similar. I'm doing basically the same thing. And then if I get wash in places I don't want, I just put a little bit of the base color back on. But honestly, usually it'll cling to that spot right there pretty easily.
Man, oh man. So this looks like woven grass, or it could be woven cotton, because it's thicker, which would mean it could be dyed any color you want. I'm keeping it neutral for now. And then later on, because I'm going with a neutral color, if I decide to change it where I want one red or one blue, I can do that fairly easily.
Excuse me.
I'm okay with it being watered down. I want this darker color more in the crevasses anyway, the nooks and crannies of this, than I do in the high points, because I'm going to be dry brushing over it anyway with a brain matter beige. So it looks more like a white cotton linen.
Neophet, thanks for stopping by.
Good to see you, buddy. Woo! Man, we're just pegging the excitement level here tonight, guys.
Right.
Let's get this done.
And now she has eyes.
It's always scary
Okay.
when they get eyes.
I know, right?
Is she cross-eyed?
I certainly hope not. Let's
Do you do your so I do my I do the eyes all white, and then I put the whites in on the sides.
You mean all color? And then put
Yeah.
lights on the sides?
How do you do
Um,
yours?
I get upset if there's no like definition around the eye,
Mm-hmm.
especially with a character like this. So what I actually did was uh, I do a darker color, like in this case I use like a blue black color,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I then I dot that with an off white, and then I put an even smaller dot of the iris color, because I just find it easier to do if I just do the kind of uh, incrementally smaller dots. And so when I do the darker color, that'll cover eyebrow, and then like the shadow under the eye, the like mascara, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have that weird, skin tone to white, just with no blend, with no defining line, and that usually helps a lot to have that like little bit of extra um, darker tone first.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not as worried about messing up like my placement. It usually gives me a good idea of where I want to put each piece, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and I feel pretty good about most of it. My only issue is there's like one spot near the nose where there's no, like I went over my defining line with the white. I'm like, do I go back and try to get a teeny little, like microns
Mm-hmm.
thin line,
Yeah.
or do I just kind of, I could always use a little bit of wash to kind of uh, add that. For me.
Man, oh man. Why does my camera keep slipping? It's getting old. I think I'm going to take this thing into place. And in about 15 minutes, we're going to be done for the night.
I might actually be done with these eyes.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got eyes done. My day is complete. All right. While I'm waiting, I'm just going to go ahead and knock out some of the stone on this piece here. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to just handle the brick while I'm at it. A second coat to really get the brick done. Block it in, knock it out.
Okay. Eyes done too. Nice. I'm pretty happy with all of it. Okay.
How's those eyes?
I'm feeling pretty good about them. She had a little in the thing. She had kind of um, like a little mascara drawn uh, piece,
Mm-hmm.
which I couldn't really emulate. It's just too tiny. I mean, the lines even on that card are way too small. But I went ahead and kind of overdid the eyeshadow makeup area, and it looks pretty good.
The things you learn about women's makeup by being a painter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Women's makeup brushes
For
can
dry
be
brushing.
some of the best weathering brushes
Oh yeah.
ever. I shouldn't call it women's makeup brushes, period, because they can be used for anything, theatrical or otherwise. But
Mm-hmm.
um,
Well, and they're really built for blending with that kind of
yeah,
the way the flare
but
is. So,
everything's really dry that you're applying to the face that way, so it's like a giant dry brush.
yep.
But it's so light.
Yeah. Um, like I when I first started doing a lot of the weathering for terrain, I used a lot of uh, the really hard. Uh, they're similarly shaped, but they're like the hard bristles that you get at Hobby Lobby or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and just it's so stiff. They're just so stiff.
Mm-hmm.
They don't come anywhere close to the the dusting effect you get from using one of those makeup brushes. And
Yeah.
they make them so small. Like you can get them in such a small, size that honestly I like those better than most of the dry brushes for miniatures on the market.
Well, when I do weathering with those, I don't use like regular old paints most of the time. So what I do is I ground down. Let's see if I got them up here. Yeah.
Like the solid pigments.
Yeah. So there's like there's like this. I'll show it here. They make various different dust pigments you can pick up.
Mm-hmm.
The company named MIG did that, and MIG is famous for it. But I also take chalks like this and I grind them down to make whatever colors I need as well.
Yeah, I've got a couple of those. I like that you can grab those and you can get really interesting sci-fi dirt.
Yeah.
Because you can find purple chalks like that,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, excuse me, mix and match funny colors, interesting colors, and get really great looking kind of sci-fi terrains doing that. When you're doing a little bit of like this kind of like when you're doing the little bases and stuff. I love that. I also like that. I use a lot of flowers that I get from huge minis for a lot of pieces that I do. So like for this one, I'm going to try to find something that kind of looks a little underwater, probably with a pink theme, something or other. I think I have some in here somewhere, and I'm probably going to add a little pink flower to the design. Right, or where was it? There's a spot in here where you can just barely see through the slotted base.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. Yeah, right there. So I'm probably going to put little right here. I'm just going to put a little pink flower next to her, a little pink flower bush thing, something that looks like it would fit. And then I'm going to do some kind of a bluish dusting for the ground to make it look a little bit more seabed. But yeah, yeah, because a lot of those come in, dirt browns and a bunch of other things. But if you wanted to add a little bit more colorful flair to the bottom where you get more blues or greens, I don't see that a lot in the standard miniature pigments that you pick up for weathering.
If you go to MIG, you can get real, super realistic weathering for just about anything that's earth based.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're looking for sci-fi stuff, like Martian fields and stuff like that, you can either work off of the stuff they've got, just use it in a different way, or you'll have to grind down your own pigments and set it up. But anything's possible once you understand that pigment is basically a powder and that paint is pigment with a suspension liquid of some sort applied to it. Anything at that point is possible. So just a matter of what you're doing.
I'm curious to see what flowers I have I want to use. These are some of the flower colors that I've picked up.
Can't see them.
I was.
Speak up.
We can't. Oh, hi, hello.
There you go.
There. So the these are the flowers that I pick up from huge minis, and I. There we go. There, that's the way to look. Okay, but I've got a ton. They have anything you could imagine color-wise. So I'm just going through here and seeing. If I have like, I know somewhere I have like a light pink. Here I have like a hot magenta, but I'm not quite ready for that. Yeah, of course. The very, very last thing on my pegboard. These right here.
That's always pretty cool.
Yeah. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of dry brushing. Mm-hmm. There we go. Well, I usually keep like anything that gets mailed to me, packing slips, packing paper, that sort of stuff. I usually try to keep some of that at my desk, so that if I need something to dry brush on, I can just snag that.
Well, guys, I think we're going to wrap up for the evening. Hopefully you had a great time watching us do this today. You can always catch us on YouTube. We typically post our shows on YouTube roughly 48 hours after we do the show. And then also check us out on our Patreon. Very often when we're painting single miniatures, you can also check out the cool paint plans if you're on the miniatures and miniatures and models paint plan tier, or the noble or royal patron tiers. Again, we try to put together paint plans for everybody so they can see what we did, how we did it, and also do some pretty cool stuff themselves. So we'll see you guys next week on Sunday. And then don't forget, on Tuesday, the Games Tavern Happy Hour will be there. And we will be showcasing the latest news and interviews, and then also possibly even some reviews of product. So check it out, the Games Tavern Happy Hour on the Games Tavern, every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll see you guys next week. Take care next week, Between the Worlds, and to all our friends who came out to see us, we'll see you guys next week. Say goodbye, Chet.
Bye. Thanks for coming.
All right, guys. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next week.